Hello everyone and welcome to another SkaredCast video. This is Meta Monday Analysis with your host, Skari. Me. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is a fun video that I do every single week, usually exclusively for Patreons. Today I've opened it up to the general public just so everyone can participate, since it is one of the first ones of November. It's also a very special day here at SkaredCast. Yesterday marked my 2-year anniversary for jumping into 40k creation of content full time. It was 2 years ago on November 8th that I decided to do what I was doing and jump into 40k content full time. So a huge shout out to everybody who watches the videos and all the good stuff like liking and sharing and all that sort of like social media whatnots, as well as all the denizens and supporters on Patreon, without whom I would not be able to do this. So thank you. Before we get started, I wanted to get that out of the way. Huge shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching and clicking the like button and clicking the downgrade button if you truly don't like what I do. Completely up to you. I appreciate all the support. So what are we going to talk about today? It is Meta Monday. Now, this is something I normally do for Patreons, of course. I've already up to everybody. And then we're going to talk about the main events of the weekend. We had a huge team event in Australia, and we had 3 GTs that happened, 1 in Canada and 2 in the US. We're going to talk about the top lists. We're going to break them down. We're going to go through Patreon questions. And if you caught this live, we'll also talk and ask questions live. There'll be a Q&A period and all that good stuff. So hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your notepad and pen, and let's dive in to the 40k meta as it stands. So the Western Australia Team Championships is the first event. I think that's what it was called. The Western Australia Team Championship, which is definitely a mouthful. Let me see if I can WT Western Australia Team Championship. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Haha! The WATC 2020. Super fun. Hello, everybody. Tegas, David, John, Nuno, Mariano, and Sean. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Okay. So the winners were an Art of War team, basically, from the Art of War. So shout out to them, of course. And what were they called? They were the Maelstrom? No, just roll 6s. Oh, my goodness. Totally Incredible Tactical Squad. The Howling Banshees. Some of the names of these are absolutely ridiculous. So the team leaderboard, the top team was, I am doing down on the pairing, so please, please stay tuned as that. Okay, the Devil Dogs seem to be one of the top teams here. No, the Feels Bad Men. Where are they? Just roll 6s. There's 22 teams. It was a 130-person event. The Devil Dogs seem to be the team that won the top spot here, I believe. We had Adeptus Sororitas, Necrons, Dark Angels, Chaos Demons. Okay, so this was the list that won. Perfect. So 6-person team event. Now, if anybody doesn't know how 40k team events work, you get a team of 4 to 8 people. 8 people being the WTC World Class Team Events, which are 8-person teams. Me being the assistant captain of the Canadian team as of filming this right now. And they were doing 6-person teams. And the way it works is you essentially put like a defender army up, and then your opponents put two armies to fight that defender. Then the defender picks one of the 2 attacking armies to fight. And you do that basically 6 times. That's in broad terms. There's a lot more strategy to that. However, it means that you can sort of dodge your bad matchups, go for better matchups. There's also strategy involved with picking the table. since the table and terrain is not the same. And in my opinion, team events and the way that team events are played is the epitome of Warhammer 40,000 tournament experience. Like, solo events are great, but team events truly bring out the best in you as a player and in you as a team. So let's dive into their lists, because you're going to see concepts here that currently are very powerful in the current meta, like in the current way of playing the game. So let's go through their list real quick. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in live. If you didn't tune in live, make sure you're hitting that like button and comment down below, if you like any of the lists that you see and if you are going to be running their lists in the future, which is always super fun. So, Sisters of Battle, Adeptus Sororitas. The list is a Spearhead detachment of Valorous Heart with a Gemini Superior, a Canoness, Celestine, one Imagifier with the Tail of the Stoic, a Preacher, of course, very good. 3 Exorcists. Now, lots of Exorcists, lots of long-range shooting. Retributor Squad with 3 Multi-Meltards. And then a Patrol detachment of Bloody Rose with a Canoness, a Battle Sister Squad, 2 units of 9 Repentia, a Seraphim Squad 5 with 2 double Inferno pistols. Great to just blow stuff up. 2 more Retributor Squads with 4 Multi-Meltas in each, and 2 Rhinos. It's a lot of Multi-Meltas combined with the Seraphim to like blow up a screen or do something like that. Hey Moritz, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. 18 Repentia, which are the like die-hard, heavy-hitting unit of the Adeptus Sororitas. Like, they're fantastic. If you still don't know what they can do, they have crazy threat ranges, using the faith dice to get to where they need to go. And of course, some like Exorcists, which are Valorous Heart, which means they can use the ignore modifiers to hit stratagem, as well as all the other stuff that they can kind of do. And they're just great, like long-range support to like pop stuff or kill Marines, which is, let's face it, a lot of people bring Marines. So a good all-rounder, heavy-hitting list that's surprisingly survivable, as Sisters of Battle tend to survive a lot longer than you think. The second list in the winning team from this weekend, right? Top 40k stuff right here is what we're looking at. Are Necrons. Brand new on the scene. We're going to see Necrons absolutely everywhere, in my opinion. I'm personally thinking of starting a Necron army. 60 to 80 Necron warriors and a whole bunch of stuff. But let's see what they decide to bring in the land down under. This is Laxlen Rig, and he was bringing a Vanguard detachment with Eternal Conquerors and Relentless Expansionists, which is the pre-game move, and everybody's OBSEC, and OBSEC is double OBSEC, so you can just quickly use those terms. A Chronomancer with an Entropic Lance and counter-temporal nanomines. A Crypto Thrall, which helps you slow somebody down that wants to charge you. Crypto Thralls. 3 units of 5 Scorp Tech Destroyers. Very like anti-marine tech right there. Tega says no. I'm assuming that's for me. Come on. Hit the thumbs up for me playing Necrons. Thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the heads up. 2 years of doing content. I couldn't do it with all of you. If you'd like to support the channel, check the links down below. Patreon is the best way. Lots of cool stuff that happens, as well as a great community. So thank you very much to everybody who supports the channel. The Nightbringer and 3 Canoptech Spiders. And then an Outrider detachment with the same dynastic codes with a Technomancer, a Voltaic, in the end, a bunch of, just a bunch of dudes. Then 5 Canoptech Wraiths, 5 Canoptech Wraiths, 5 Ophidian Destroyers, and 8 Canoptech Spiders. So this list is completely not what you would think a traditional Necron list right now would run. It has, no warriors. It has no OBSEC. It's literally just kill. Kill, kill, kill. High super pressure. Get in your face. Destroyers, destroyers, destroyers. Canoptech Spiders, the Satan, the Nightbringer to just go up in your face, Technomonsters and stuff to just be annoying, wraiths, destroyers, and scarabs, and that's all obsec. So, well, actually, it's all obsec. So you don't need the warriors, but it's just like everywhere and everything, which is crazy. The witches are brewing a poison for you now. Well, Tegus, I welcome them to try. Yes, Happy, they are all indeed obsec. Managers hate the Nightbringer. Yeah, the Nightbringer is terrifying. If you don't have a way to deal with him, then you're in a bit of trouble. So things like Ghazghkull, Nightbringer, like this whole can do maximum of so many wounds per phase is a mechanic that they introduced with Ghazghkull. They're going to be introducing it, as we can see, with more different things. So having stuff in your army that can do damage throughout multiple phases moving forward in the way that the 40k is moving forward, hugely important. So we've seen 2 lists. Let's take a look at the next 4 lists in the team event. Sisters went first, then Necrons, and the next one, Dark Angels. So Dark Angels are not, in my opinion, one of the strongest Space Marine builds. I think White Scars sort of like fit that bill, or the new Deathwatch. Be careful. Deathwatch is going to hit the meta by storm. Mark my words. The reason being kill teams with 5 Outriders, combat squatting them to units of 5 Outriders. Get out of here. Get out of here. By the way, what makes the Nightbringers better than other Satans? We will get to all your questions at the end, so make sure you put all the questions in the chat while you click that like button, all that good stuff. Okay, Peter Platel, Dark Angels. He's running a Vanguard detachment with Azrael, who's, pretty good. 2 Ravenwing Talon Masters, a Ravenwing Apothecary, a Blade Guard Ancient, a Deathwing Command Squad with a Storm Shield Thunderhammer, then 3 Storm Shield Thunderhammers, and and 2 with Lightning Claws, and a Watcher in the Dark. So a little combat command squad of death. Then another Deathwing Command Squad with 5 pairs of Lightning Claws. No, it's 2 of them. It's just 2 dudes. And Deathwing Command Squad of 2 dudes as well with a pair of Lightning Claws. And then a Deathwing Terminator Squad with 4 Lightning Claws. And then, so this is a 10-strong unit with 5 Lightning Claws, 5 Thunder Storm Shields. So he's got a lot of Deathwing Terminators to take total advantage of the you can only wound me on 4's inner circle thing, which is like transhuman physiology on all the time, which is really, really good. Which is crazy. It's like really good. Then we have fast stack. We have an Inceptor squad, so that's 6 Inceptors, and then we have a 5 Inceptors with the Plasma Exterminators, which of course you can totally turn into 2 or 3 with combat squads, and 1 of 5. Plasma pistols, they kill a lot of stuff. They come down with their little D3 plasma blast guns. The unit of 5 gets 30 shots against anything that's, so it's, and if you can like give it all rerolls to hit or whatever, like give it additional modifiers or reroll ones to wound, it can do a lot of damage and even wipe out like an entire unit of Necron Warriors in a single round of shooting. So crazy, crazy good. Grey Falcon also has a question. Hello, Gwendolyn. How are you? Omen, Happy, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. You are all awesome. Hey, Hail Hydra. What's going on? You were just talking about Dark Angels, which is right up your alley. I'm just joking. Then we have Platel with Chaos Demons. Now, if anybody hasn't been paying attention, go to 40k Stat Center. Go to a variety of different things or a variety of different places, and you will find out that Chaos Demons, like the Monster Mash, has one of the highest win percentages of the entire 40k universe. They are quite good right now, and it's sad that, Corona doesn't really let us have as many events as we had before. The pandemic has ravaged the world, which means that we're not seeing this sort of like this glorious heyday of demon armies. But it's nice to see that they've used demons effectively in this list. Hey, Andres, how's it going? So, demons have always been broken. No, not always. So, and I'll get to all your questions in the question segment. So make sure you post all your questions. If you really want me to notice a question, you can always super chat it, and then I can really see the question so I don't miss it. Okay, so we've got Chaos Demons. You have a battalion detachment of Chaos Undivided with a Lord of Change, with all the regular stuff, right? Except he's going to be rolling for 2 traits instead of picking 1. So, okay, fair enough. Then we have 10 pink horrors, 10 pink horrors, 3 Nurglings, 3 Nurglings. So some obsec stuff just to be all over the place. 5, 5, and 5 Beasts of Nurgle, which are still really annoying. Timothy says he was lucky enough to play at this event. Fantastic, Timothy. Let us know in the chat how it went. Then we have a Vanguard detachment of Demons of Slaanesh, just straight Slaanesh, with a Keeper of Secrets, a Keeper of Secrets, each picking, so one's rolling for traits, one's picking the trait, then 1 Fiend, 1 Fiend, 1 Fiend, and then 5 Furies, right? So 5 Furies are infantry that moves fast, simply there to do actions and to move around the table, do scramblers, deep strike, that sort of stuff. Keeper of Secrets, excellent at getting up in your face and killing pretty much everything. Keepers of Secrets are very fast, very killy. If you haven't watched any of the battle reports that I've played against Cody from the Hooded Goblin, he's one of the channel sponsors, so make sure you check his link in the description of the videos. I played against his Keeper of Secrets army, and it's always crazy aggressive, right? So that's kind of how that list plays. Then we have the Beasts of Nurgle, 15 of them, very tough, very durable, a core that can kind of get on objectives, is hard to dislodge. A lot of demon players use Nurglings, 40 or 50 Nurgling bases. However, Beasts of Nurgle kind of do the same sort of thing and are probably a little more survivable for their points. He does have the Nurglings, 2 units of 3, to zone out the table, get onto objectives early, get into the mid board, which is always useful, as well as 20 pink horrors. They're not terrible, 20 pink horrors. They're just backfield objective holders. They zone out the back of the board. I've coached someone recently over the last 3 months, and we've developed a 1,000 Suns demon list that has the horrors. So 2 units of 10 horrors, however, has 300 points of summoning. And those horrors are incredibly hard to dislodge. Just ask any of the Patreons that have played him on TTS lately. Horrors are gross. They have so many cool stuff if you do that. He's not using it in here, though. So, and a Lord of Change, which is also... Oh, and another Keeper of Secrets. So it's actually 3 Keepers of Secrets. My apologies, which makes this list even better. And then, of course, the Fiends hold you in combat, stop you from doing anything, etc., etc., etc. Andres asked a question as well. That many Beasts of Nurgle is very pricey. Yeah, a lot of folks would probably convert it, I would assume. So let me know down below if you have a list like this. Would you spend the money on it? Would you convert the models? That sort of thing. Are there reserve points? No, there's only 5 points, which technically you could... Oh, no, he's got 47 reserve points. So, a little couple of points here or there, maybe for a few blues and a couple of brims. Nothing crazy. Potentially to turn someone into a spawn if you need to. It's very minimal here in terms of reserve points. Then we have Craig. So we've gone through 4 of this. We had Demons, we had Dark Angels, we had Necrons, we had Sisters of Battle. Perfect. So we have 2 more lists for this, and then we'll go into the other 3 GTs that we have. That was 1 in Canada, 2 in the US. We won't go through all the lists, but we'll talk about the top lists of these events, and we'll highlight a couple of the things that I found very interesting when it came to the way the meta is shaping up right now. Now, a lot of you are thinking, Skari, I just saw you play a narrative campaign on mini wargaming. Yes, I did. I recently played a game. And yes, I do enjoy narrative. But I'm a competitive player at heart. And I play narrative games to force me to think differently and to use units differently. And I take the things that I learn in narrative and fun games and using random units, and I apply that in a competitive setting. And I think that sets me apart from the bunch. I create my own meta lists. So let's talk about the next list, which is Craig with his Adeptus Mechanicus. Are the Valka Fenrica in any of the results? I'm assuming that's short for Space Wolves. And John Fisher, I'll get to your question in a second. Of course, we'll do like a question segment. I think after every tournament. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go over after like Q&A after every tournament here as well. Celebrating 2 years of creating hobby content. Thanks a lot for joining me for the ride. I was really nervous when I decided to jump in full time, but I couldn't do it without all the support of folks out there. So thank you. Thank you very much. So it is Adeptus Mechanicus, Patrol Detachment of Ryza. Ryza to the challenge. You can all exit stage left now. Click the like button if you like dad jokes. Tech Priest Manipulus. Unit of Skari Vanguard of 10 strong. Okay, with 3 Plasma Culvers. Then we have 10 priests, the Electro Fulgurite Priests, so the close combat priests. Then we have 5 raiders, 5 raiders, 5 raiders and then 3 raiders. So, 4 raiders and 3 raiders. So just like 2 tiny units of Cerberus raiders, a Scorpius Doom Rider, then a patrol detachment of Data Horde Forge World and servo-focused auguries with a Dominus, 5 Vanguard with 2 Transonic Arquebuses, 5 Twin Cognis Autocannon Chicken Walkers, 3 Twin Cognis Last Cannon Chicken Walkers, 2 Disintegrator Cannons, a Fusillade, so the bombers. So 2 bombers, 8 chickens, 2 Scorpius Disintegrators, a unit of 5 troops with a Dominus, a unit of 10 troops, 2 little units of Raiders, 2 Electro Priests, and then, of course, the big 10 unit of Vanguard with a Manipulus. So, all in all, it's not your average Adeptus Mechanicus list, other than the chickens and the priests. The bombers are in there. They're really annoying. They fly around. They're better than Eldar flyers in a lot of ways. They double move and things like that, which is pretty crazy. And they can also like slow stuff down with the tremor shells, and they do lots of mortal wounds turn by turn. And the Scorpius Disintegrators are in there. What I find that this list lacks a little bit is objective secured, which is very interesting. How did this player offset the lack of objective secured in the list? We shall see. Good evening, Chris. How are you? Exendar, love your work. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Okay, so Adeptus Mechanicus. And for the last list, before we go into questions, we had Mitch with his Heretic Astartes list. So this is Chaos Space Marines and Thousand Suns combined. He's got a battalion detachment of Black Legion with Abaddon, who's still a boss, regardless of what everybody says. Abaddon is great. Hail Hydra! Hey, thanks a lot. Really appreciate the super chat. That's amazing. Thank you very much. We have a Sorcerer and Terminator armor with Death Hex, Delightful Agonies. He's got the Marcus Lanesh. Purge the Unclean, says James. He has a Dark Apostle. He has 30 Chaos Cultists, 18 Chaos Cultists, 18 Chaos Cultists, 10 Chaos Cultists, 10 Chaos Cultists. So he's literally running the Abaddon Chaos Cultist super spam, which is just like OBSEC everywhere, fearless, like they're just annoying to get rid of. 5 Khorne Berserkers with 2 Lightning Claws. Fun. 5 Khorne Berserkers with 2 Lightning Claws. 5 Khorne Berserkers with 2 Lightning Claws. I will say, a Berserker champion with double Lightning Claws will probably kill more things over the course in the game than the entire unit of Khorne Berserkers. Now that Lightning Claws give you so many extra attacks, just imagine how many attacks that Khorne Berserker champion gets. Needs more cultists, says Andres. Bikers, 3 bikers, 3 bikers, 3 bikers. So 3 units of bikers. 2 rhinos, I'm assuming for the Khorne Berserkers. And then a Thousand Sun Patrol Detachment with armor on a disc, a Sorcerer and Terminator armor. And these are Cult of Magic for some additional mortal wound output. And then 10 Chaos Cultists. So this gives you your combat support. Now, the reason this list works, and let me know if you disagree, is not only does he have a ton of models to saturate the table, lots of mortal wound output, some good mobility with the bikes, has access to Black Legion strats, such as the World Killers stratagem. 3 CPs, essentially shutting down your opponent's ability to score points at all, which just basically stops your opponent's obsec from working. It's like a direct counter to a lot of these armies that are like maximizing on objectives secured, like Necrons, right? Where you can just go onto stuff and it's like, ba-boom. So I just want to shout out Hail Hydra. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, congrats on the 2 years, mate. Looking forward to many more. Enjoyed your content a while ago when I was sick with the Rona. God bless you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking in there and, you know, for hanging out and all that stuff as well. So let's get to some questions before we go to the first GT that we have, because this is going to be a action-pack filled Meta Monday. So let's kind of take a look at them over here. Witches, OPSEC. Okay, what makes the Nightbringer better than the other Satans? So the Nightbringer is pure, unadulterated damage output. And I think that really offsets the other Satan. The Voidbringer does a lot of damage, but is specifically catered to like anti-vehicle. And the Deceiver doesn't have the damage output, has a little bit more survivability, has more shenanigany. A lot of the times you need to be able to kill Marines dead, and the ability of the Nightbringer to just ignore invulnerable saves, well, every Satan can do that, but just standard without needing a stratagem, as well as having one of the best Satan powers to just do an incredible amount of mortal wounds, and the ability to have close combat attacks that can deal with heavy and horde-like opponents is also super important as well. Nightbringer will kill Gaz in one phase. Yes. Yeah, a lot of people answering that question. That's fantastic. Omen says, newbie here. Hi, Omen. Thanks for tuning in. Is there any news on the new Eldar Codex? Sadly, no. I wish. I wish I could be telling you. However, everything I could tell you would be pure conjecture. But thank you for that question. Whole wounds for phase. Reavers are great. Yeah. By the way, to deal with the Nightbringer, Reaver jet bikes will kill the Nightbringer in a single round. Movement phase with the slash attack, shooting phase, charge phase with grav talons, combat phase. You have 4 phases to do wounds, and you just need to do like 2 wounds in each phase and then an extra one somewhere. Boom. Dead Satan. Amazing way to deal with a Satan in a single phase. A little bit of tech there for all of you over there. Chultai asks, what would need to happen to make Imperial Knights viable in 9th? Would X wounds counting as X models be reasonable? I think that Knights definitely need to have that sort of mechanic where they count as multiple models holding an objective. I think that adding something like that would offset the fact that they're 5 models, right? So they become more relevant 100% instead of just having to wipe people out to take objectives. However, it could be cool to maybe let them add, say, a Adeptus Mechanicus detachment. Kind of like you can add a knight into an Adeptus Mechanicus list, adding like an Adeptus Mechanicus list to a knight, and then have it sort of like be the same sort of list. I think is super important, which you can do. A lot of the best knight armies tend to take allies as well. Andres asks, how would you abuse the fall back and shoot from Ultramarines? Is a list that punches you and shoots viable? 100%. Ultramarines are fantastic. Not being able to tie them up is very powerful. You definitely want to take things that can shoot, things with flamers, things with bolt guns. Like aggressors tend to be really good in Ultramarine lists, but let's face it, Eradicators would be really good, and any like even just generic intercessors that have bolters or assault bolters that can just move back and shoot you with a bunch of guns. So that's super important as well. In terms of abuse, I don't think it's really, say, abusable as much as it's more annoying for your opponent because they can't just tie you down and stop you from being effective, which means unless they completely destroy your unit gets to be effective throughout the entire game, increasing the effectiveness of your units. So take units that can just benefit from being effective the entire game instead of a few games here or there. Exactly. Or 10 brims. There you go. So Alex said for those points, you could summon 5 more Furies or 10 brims. Fantastic. John Fisher asks, he says, how do we compete against Deathwatch overlapping secondaries to effectively get 5 to 8 victory points for killing a basic cavalry squad? You focus on your own objectives. Don't worry about what your opponent's doing. just focus on the primary mission, focus on scoring your secondaries. Your opponent's going to score theirs. Just try and stop them from scoring primary points. If you can't compete with them at the secondary objective level, stop them from scoring primary points. Dark Eldar and Eldar are very good at just sacrificing stuff and stopping people from scoring points, especially against Marines. It's not as easy against things like Necrons and whatnot. However, you can kind of do that. They're going to get a bunch of secondaries. That's fine. You focus on your game, stop them from scoring primary points, and hopefully they can't catch up. And then even if your whole army dies, if you have more points, you win. Narrative is knife palate cleanser. Yes, it is. Powell says, I read an argument that with the point cost hikes for Cabalites, Cabal spam became unviable, and you're just basically paying for Covens or bust. Is that true? I currently only take one Cabalite squad because that's what I need for my Cabalite patrol, so I might be accepting that. Have I played armies with just Cabalites? Yes. Have I played armies with just witches? Yes. Have I played armies with only Coven? Yes. I've done everything in between. Cabalites are definitely expensive right now. So if you do take them, don't spend too many points on them. That would be my basic suggestion. Is 5 worth 45 points? No. Is it worth 60? Hell no. So keep it down to like 50 points tops. If you give it a Phantasm Grenade Launcher to be able to fire and fade, or a Blast Pistol to just make it sort of effective, nice and close and personal. I do find Witches and Racks to be more effective, but I ultimately find a mix to be much better at playing the missions. Question, says Andres. I'm thinking about starting Imperial Guard. They seem to be in a really bad place right now. Where would you start collecting? A couple of Manticores to make sure you get full payload. Infantry squads, a couple of tank commanders. That's a stand loadout. Bullgrain are also really useful still. Just don't take them in a big squad. Take them in like units of 5. I did put a couple of battle reports out with Sisters and Guard if you want to watch. I'm doing a premiere tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where the next battle report will go up. It's been on the Patreon page already for a week. I usually post my bat reps for Patreons first for about a week. Then I put them free for all after that on a premiere. So check that out. It's against the new Space Wolves. It was a very fun, very bloody game. So I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you get some tips from that as well. Okay. Sorry, lots of questions were asked here. Mike is speaking. Mike is spiking a little, possibly too close. Okay, thank you, Grave Falcon. When I get really excited about life, okay, and I start talking like crazy, let me just double check. Let me see if I can just lower the mic sensitivity a bit. And hopefully, thank you for the feedback, though. I really appreciate it. I also tend to a lot, so thank you for your patience. Nightbringer can kill Gaz. Yep, 100%. Mariano asks, how do you see the new Space Wolves on the team rosters? Interesting. I think if there were one Space Marine army that you could take, I would take something like White Scars or like Deathwatch, to be honest, at least right now, because I feel they're more versatile than Space Wolves. Space Wolves are very one-dimensional. They're very hard-hitting, very aggressive, but you really need a little bit more flexibility. And I think Deathwatch would probably be the best. It's the sleeper codex. I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be popular yet, but when people find out how good it is, they will take it. What do you think of Scorptech Destroyers and Wraiths? I prefer just warriors, just 80 warriors and go, here, try kill them. Personally. Do you think Lady Malice will return to the tabletop? I hope the characters return. Yes. We've got 3 more GTs to go over, so sit back, go get another cup of coffee. We're going to look at a couple of the top lists that made waves in the meta today or this week. And this is Meta Monday for anybody who's brand new. I do this video every week for Patreons. I've opened it up for everyone as it's the 2-year anniversary of me deciding to do content full time. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll do a couple more questions and we'll go to the next GT. Omen asks, if one is running Inari, the United in Death worth using? If so, would they only be able to play with 3 patrol units? United in Death, is that a stratagem of like, making them better if they're close to each other? Personally, the only strats I really use are get back up from death if you're a character and reroll wounds and advance and charge for bikes. And those are like the only 3 stratagems, plus like lightning fast reflexes and fall back and still act as normal, which are yeah, so you don't really need a lot of the stratagems there. However, Incubi and Ari are amazing. Do you think the Nightbringer can potentially change the meta due to how scary it can be for demons and marines? Yeah, I think Necrons are going to change the meta in general, because you're going to have to deal with a big block of Necrons. How can your army kill 20 Necron warriors? Do the math. Like, really do the math and figure out. It's 250 points or whatever, 240 points, 230 points, 260 points. 260 points for 20 Necron warriors. What in your list can kill 20 Necron warriors in a single shooting phase or a single phase in just one go? Not very much, right? So they're just going to change the meta just with that alone. Mark asks, do you think the Reaper's main cannon doing D3 plus 3 damage will carry over Dark Lances in general? I don't think so. If it does, though, that's incredible. However, I hope to see a revamp in the Disintegrated Cannon, so we'll see. Because it's very expensive, and it's definitely not... It should be better than a Heavy Bolter. Like, come on. John says, thanks for answering questions. Yeah, no problem. Good night, John. Thanks a lot. Do you think we'll get more OBSEC on Eldar? Yes, I just hope the troop choices get better. What do you think about an Inari Army 9th edition? Hard to play, fun to play, not the most competitive, but cool options and combinations. Stay crazy. I will try. Okay, what do you think Mike Brandt will be using back if Vect asked him nicely? What do you think Mike Brandt will bring back Vect if I asked Mike? Mike Brandt, why does he have anything to do with Vect? He does the GT pack. If anything, you should say, hey, Mike Brandt, why don't you bring back end of turn scoring so that all us Eldar players can give the finger to all these Space Marine players that sit on objectives, or Necron players that can hold objectives and defend them, where we just work best by going, whoop, that's mine, whoop, that's mine. Right? And Chris says, favorite coolest war gear relic options are gorgeous Drukhari book. Favorite coolest war gear? The Jin Blade and relic, the Jin Blade, war gear, the Jin Blade, and stratagem, the Soul Trap, because it makes your Archon killy. Okay, so that was the first round of questions. Let's dive in to GT numero dos. Now, this is an interesting GT as well, where we are going to... no, not that one. No, not that one. It is the South Georgia Havoc GT. Dun, dun, dun. This is a 40-person GT that happened. And it was super, super fun. We had Adeptus Astartes in third place, Space Wolves. Then we had Dark Angels. And then we had Goths in first place. That's right. We had Space Wolves, we had Dark Angels, we had Goths. However, in the South Georgia GT, I want to make a note of something really quickly. So just give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to pull it up. About 6 months ago, this is story time. Okay, about 6 months ago, the what in the heck? No, not current location, global. The meta, or was this a year ago? The meta was, if I remember correctly, when it was, what happened in this GT? What are the top lists? It was, you could probably recite it with me: Iron Hands, Iron Hands, Iron Hands, Iron Hands, Iron Hands. Iron Hands, 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 with a taste of Iron Hands. So, was that something that I was super excited about? No. No, I was not. Was it super fun to talk about on chats like this? No, absolutely not. However, check this out. Goths, Dark Angels. This is the South Georgia GT. Adeptus Astartes, Dark, whatever this is. Sisters of Battle, Astra Militarum, Death Guard, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Necrons, White Scars, Blood Angels, Skitari, Farsight, Chaos Demons, Chaos Space Marines, Space Wolves, Necrons, Custodes, Ultramarines. Like, I'll tell you, the top 15 was a crazy, varied group of armies. Yes, a lot of them are Marine variants, but you've got some really cool combinations, and it's really nice to see at its core that the meta that we're seeing at like these big events, yes, you're seeing like certain list archetypes kind of make it to the top, but the top sort of like pool of players that go 3 and 2 or 4 and 1 are all completely different factions. I don't know about you, but that is a very healthy state of the meta. Yes, okay, it's 30% as Marines. Whoop-de effing do. At least it's not Iron Hands, 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 Iron Hands. Okay. Quite a healthy meta. Very, very healthy. So the first list that we're going to look at the South, Georgia Havoc GT. By the way, shout out to Mark Perry, who came in 8th with the Space Wolves. One of the other coaches of the Art of War team is Jamie Paris. Now, Jamie was running Space Wolves. Now, this Space Wolf list is a patrol detachment with a captain with a jump pack, Mordecai's Teeth bolts on his bolt gun, and then a Thunderhammer. Okay. Then we have an Incursor squad, just 5 Incursors. We have a large unit of jump pack Wolf Guard with Lightning Claw Storm Shields on pretty much all of them. This is 10 of them. Then we have a Supreme Command detachment of Adeptus Astartes Ultramarines with Robute Gulliman. So he's mixed in Gulliman there. And then a Ultramarine Outrider detachment with Chief Librarian Tigerius, an Infiltrator squad, an Apothecary Master Apothecary, a Vitrix Honor Guard. So 2 Honor Guard, 3 attack bikes, a 5-strong Inceptor squad with Plasma, 3 suppressors, and then a Grav Cannon Devastator squad, so 4 Grav Cannons and a drop pod, which you don't see very often anymore. So he's got the Grav drop pod. He came in 3rd. This is like a 30-person GT. It's a Grav drop pod. He's got suppressors to stop Overwatch. He's got Inceptors for Plasma goodness. He has multi-melta attack bikes for some fast-moving anti-tank. I feel attack bikes are a little bit better even than ATVs because they're a lot cheaper. Vitrix Guard to keep his characters alive. The Apothecary to bring stuff back to life. An Infiltrator squad because infiltrators. Chief Librarian Tigers to make something harder to kill and for some psychic support like Might of Heroes and Null Zone for stuff like that. And Robute Gulliman, who's still a tank. He's still really good, and he has the aura of reroll everything, as well as helping allies. The Mordecai's Teeth bolts help everything reroll 1s to wounds, so that's like also a lieutenant sort of thing on a unit, which is crazy. And then Wolfguard with Lightning Claws, which are really good for their points. 238 points for a unit that does lots of damage in close combat, with an Incursor squad for some forward pressure, and a captain with a jump pack with a Thunderhammer. All in all, a very cool Space Marine combo list using the Ultramarines and the Space Wolves. It's a cool little combination there as well. Then we have in 2nd place Daniel Hesters. Now, if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat. I'll get to them. Everybody, we've got like 90 people watching live. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't clicked the like button, please do. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then we'll get to some of these questions. John Chavis, Hail Hydra again, Helpless Heroes. Hello, hello. So in 2nd place, we had Dark Angels. It is a battalion detachment with a Librarian and Phobos armor, a Primaris Chaplain on a bike, which is one of the most popular units in the Chaos Space Marine book right now. 2, now this is an interesting, I went over this earlier. 2 Infiltrator squads of 5 with the Helix Adept. Now, the Helix Adept changed a little bit in the new Space Marine Codex. Instead of like an Apothecary that can heal stuff, it allows you to, the first failed save you take every player turn, the damage of that attack is 0, which essentially gives you a free model every turn because, especially if you take like a last cannon hit, it does D6 damage or whatever, is damage 0. I think that's fantastic. I really, really like that a lot. It just keeps them alive just a tad longer. 5 Intercessors. Then he has 5 Deathwing Knights with the Watcher in the Dark. An Invictor Tactical Warsuit with an autocannon for some forward pressure or some backward pressure, a Ravenwing Apothecary on a bike, 3 Invader ATVs, an Outrider squad, 2 Ravenwing Dark Talons, and Landspeeder Storm. The Dark Talons, the addition of the Ravenwing Flyers was very, very interesting. We haven't really seen people use Flyers other than like AdMech, maybe some Eldar builds around there. Lil V says, this is an awesome stream. Why, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. So this event is called the South Georgia Havoc GT. It was a 30-some person event. But it's Dark Angels, and it's got like surprisingly resilient troops that can kind of hold objectives and infiltrate. It's got Deathwing Knights, but not 20 of them or 30 of them. He's taking 5 of them just to kind of throw out there and be annoying. He's got Invader ATVs. He's got an Apothecary to like bring them back to life and stuff like that. And it is a 3-strong ATV squad with multi-meltars, 100%. But this is, yeah, so cool. It's Dark Angels in second place, going, scoring a lot of victory points, 2 100-point wins, just so you know. So this Dark Angel list went 2 100-point wins and a 92 and an 82 for his wins, like flawless victories. So crazy, crazy good. Hail Hydra, I think I would agree with you on that one. And then Stephen Mitchell. We've seen him stomping all over the tournament scene. And he's running Goffs. Now, I feel like we've seen, if anybody's been following, like in multiple Meta Mondays, I've brought him up and I've brought his Goffs up. And he's sort of like been adapting his Goff list up and down over the season. It's been very entertaining, very cool to see like orcs at the top, stomping on all the tables and stuff like that as well. So what is he running this time? Without even looking at the list, I could tell you what was in this list. So before I even go through the list, comment down below 3 elements that you think are going to have to be in this list. And if you know anything about orcs, as they are right now, you will guess all 3 of those things. Okay, that was enough time for you to type. So it is a battalion detachment of Goffs. Big mech with a custom force field. James is like already writing stuff. Oh, look, there we go. Cool. So we've got some people putting it out there. Yes. What did you put down? So big mech with a custom force field. Check. Ghazghkull Thraka. Check. A war boss with that's the warlord, brutal but cunning, to kill a claw, and being the warlord. So a super killer claw, basically. That thing, by the way, is mean. If you haven't seen my campaign with Mini Wargamer Dave, make sure you check that out because his war boss has that claw and it's annoying. 30 boys, 29 boys, so 89 boys. Any of you that said only 90 boys are wrong. It's 89 boys. Then we have 5 commandos, excellent, and only in this list for secondary choices like scramblers and things like that, right? 2 units of 5 meganobs with power claws. Now, we'd seen a lot of folks take the meganobs with the kill saws, but I'm assuming the power claws are going to be coming more popular with the higher AP values. Then we have the Pain Boy for the 6-up feel no pain for everyone. 3 mech guns with smasher guns. So stock mill, run-of-the-mill mech guns, great for zoning out the board and the backfield, that sort of thing. And then a patrol detachment of Goffs, which has a Weird Boy in it, and 10 Gretchen. It's 2,000 points on the nose, and he hasn't paid to make any of them Scar Boys, which I found very interesting, as well as not having trucks for the Meganobs. He literally just put the Meganobs on foot, and they just walked up and or teleported around and beat the crap out of stuff. Orc boys are crazy, and as you've seen, each list that we've seen varies. It's different. There's like elements that are the same, but they're all really, really different. Very healthy meta. Mark my words. Like, underline it. The amount of stuff that we're seeing at tournaments right now is crazy. I would hate to carry that army around. Okay, let's go back to some of the questions before we jump into the last 2 events that we're talking about. And let's dive right in, shall we? I like it. Hey, Skari, is anything you expected to go to Legends but didn't? I haven't actually had any thoughts of that. Today, of course, big FAQ news. We had the Black Templar FAQ go out, or the update of the Black Templar sort of like PDF. They got their super doctrine back. The Space Marine FAQ went out, giving the Apothecary, the Primaris Apothecary, the Apothecary keyword, and then fixing the chapter command point values to the cheaper point value, I believe, which is good for all apothecaries out there. The Necrons also got a bit of an FAQ. didn't really make any sense to me. Didn't seem like anything fancy. And that was about it. And then they added in all the legend stuff from Forge World. So Chaplain Dreadnoughts and the Raven Strike Fighter for the Dark Eldar, and a lot of the Corsair stuff, and all the like Renegade like Guard and stuff like that are all in Legends right now, which you could still use. They gave them point values too instead of just power level, which is good. It means you can kind of use them in both. I think that's really, really good as well. Let's see, any other questions that I missed? Do you know? Okay, answer that one. I'm starting to use Blood Angels and notice people are starting to run Vanguard Veterans. What makes them so good right now? 2 wounds, cheap, Lightning Claws, because they can have extra attacks with Lightning Claws, like a chainsword on steroids. So why wouldn't you? Quite a healthy meta, etc. I hope you're posting some questions, everybody. I thought my Wraithseers last edition were bad. I don't know how you sleep at night. Hey, Thomas, you know, Wraithseers are different now. I love the fact that they got Runes of Battle. Makes them quite useful. I like that a lot, actually, as well. Is there any mileage in a Dread Mob type orc list? Meta-wise, until the Eradicators kind of like go on the wayside, could be. You know, they just die so quickly, and they don't really have anything to like, and they just don't really have the damage output to warrant their point costs. So at the moment, no. I think in support of a list, I think like 3 Death Dreads, for example, would be excellent in support of like a mechanized orc list, just to kind of have some counterpunch and like distraction card effects style stuff. However, it's definitely not like at the top of my competitive, like this is the best competitive thing. Do you think GW should do the res of full ATV? I honestly, there's more broken things in the game than an apothecary bringing back an ATV. You just have to focus your fire and kill them all in a single round of shooting or combat, right? And just do that as well. My Emperor's Children Sonic Dreads are legends. Sad. I know, Mega T Cash. I know. We've got 2 more GTs to go over after this, so stay tuned for that as well. I'm excited. We're just going to go over some of the top lists. It's not going to take too long, but if you have any other questions, make sure you post them in the chat or in the comments, and I'll get to them if you missed the live show. How do you feel about Terminators? Good evening, Robert Lamborn. How are you? Nice to see you. How do you feel about Terminators? I like Terminators, especially Black Templar Terminators. I was thinking of being 1 big squad, all bolters, 2 rocket launchers, strats, chaplain by. I prefer assault Terminators. You could do regular Terminators. It's just Storm Shields are generally better. But a couple of rocket launchers and some guns, it's not terrible, you know. At least you've got the +1 to hit strat. I don't know if that's still a thing. Grey Falcon says, repeat question. With the capped wounds per phase, leave Khorne Demons, Tau, and maybe Drukhari behind? No. That's only in a couple of things. So, no, don't leave them behind. Just take stuff that does wounds in multiple phases. Khorne Demons are a little bit tougher, but they do have some shooting options. Maybe mix in some cannons of Khorne or whatever they're called. Dimacarons or Herodules? Both. Very new to Warhammer, says DJ Holmes. Picked up Astra Militarum as a faction. Should I wait to invest until after 9th? No. As I said, with Astra Militarum, get some Manticores, get a couple of infantry squads, get a couple of tank commanders. You should be good to start. The GT list is my favorite part, says Little V. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, let's dive in. The Suave Lion says, do you think there's an FAQ needed for Necron RP to stop from them daisy chaining models that revived? Well, we could get started on a whole other tactical series video where it's like how to completely screw over your opponent. By the way, Necrons are not the only ones that can do it. And if you run into like a horror list that has horrors, that has enough points to summon horrors, it's the most annoying thing ever because you'll kill them and they'll duplicate and multiply, and before there was only 2 of them on an objective, and after you're done shooting, there's 10 of them on an objective. It's frustrating. So frustrating. It's crazy. But we'll see. If anything, it'll be an FAQ down the line. But as it stands right now, is it going to happen? Who knows? Who the F knows? You talked about the Orc list. Could you also go through the Space Wolf and Blood Angels list? I went over the Dark Angels and Space Marines list. There's lots of different lists, Mr. Ghost. That's the South Georgia GT. So we're going on to the next GT. We're looking at like the top 3 lists and stuff like that as well. But Mr. Ghost, yeah, if you have a list as well, make sure Sisters list, says Michelle. Oh, you're twisting my arm here, aren't you? Make sure you click that like button if you want to twist my arm so much. Or I could say, hey, post a super chat, and then I'll do whatever list you want me to go over. But there's no paywall here. There's no paywall here. Sure, I'll do the Sisters list, and that'll be the last list that we'll go over. Okay, so it's a patrol detachment of Bloody Rose with a Canoness, 5 Battle Sisters, 2 Death Cult Assassins, 9 Repentia, Retributor Squad with multi-meltars, 4 of them, then a Spearhead detachment of Valorous Heart with the Triumph of St. Catherine, 2 more Death Cult Assassins, an Imagifier with the Beacon of Faith, 3 Exorcists, and then 12 Mortifiers. Cool. Came in 4th. Congratulations. I'm not the Death Cult Assassins are just cheap elites, I guess, and that's probably why they got put into the list. I'm not a fan. I think I also think that so the Exorcists' Valor's Heart are excellent. Mortifiers are great. Those heavy bolters are fantastic, and I think they're very, very important as well. Okay, so let's go to the second of the 3 GTs that we will be looking at. It was the Renegade Mini GT. Okay, the Renegade Mini GT. So remember how we were talking about and then we'll get to some more questions. So Cal, Alex, John, we'll get to your questions after we've talked about these top lists. So here we go. The list breakdown is Slanesh Demons, Nurgle, Ultramarines, Harlequins, Adeptus Astartes, that is Ultramarines and mixed. Or is it just Ultramarines? No, just Ultramarines. So on a second Ultramarine player. Harlequins, Imperium, Blood Angels, Imperium, Tyranids, Black Templars, Dark Angels. So not as much as of a difference. However, at the top, Demons, which, as we talked about before, if you were paying attention, one of the higher win rates in 9th edition right now, which is pretty crazy. So no Salamanders. No, definitely no Salamanders. I know there were a couple of Salamander players out there. So let's dive in. Asa Carlson. No, actually, let's do 3rd. So Drew Ward with Ultramarines. And Colic Midade, of course, we've heard his name before in the competitive scene. Harlequins, shout out to him for taking Harlequins. But we've got Ultramarines in 3rd place. And in Ultramarines, we've got Supreme Command Detachment with Gulliman. He's still out there. The Primarch of the Ultramarines, still out there, still going strong. Make sure you prepare for him, because he will still beat you up. Then we have Chief Librarian Tigerius in a battalion detachment with a Primaris Tech Marine. 5 Tactical Marines, 5 Tactical Marines, 5 Tactical Marines. And I think it's hilarious that we're seeing Tactical Marines, because they're the same wounds as a Primaris Marine. So why wouldn't you spend it cheaper and stuff like that? Have I missed Orcs? Just got in. Augustus, you just missed the Goff list that we went over. You can probably rewind it a little bit and check it out. Redemptor Dreadnoughts with a Gatling Cannon, a Plasma Incinerator, and a little Gatling Cannon. So 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts with a Plasma Cannon, which, by the way, I think are one of the best units in the Space Marine book. That Super Plasma Cannon on that Redemptor Dreadnought, excellent, especially at killing other Marines. Servitors, so a unit of Servitors, 4 unit of Victrix Honor Guard, 2 Eradicator units, and 1 with a multi-melter. Yep. And Land Raider Achilles. that has an invulnerable save. That's why it's so cool. But a quad launcher and 2 multi-melters. So you've got a Land Raider Achilles, a bunch of tactical squads that I'm assuming can hide in the Achilles, Eradicators, some Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and Gulliman, basically to go around, take objectives, and murder stuff. Waiting to buy some used Intercessors for a discount. Yeah, no problem, Augustus. Thanks a lot for the question. Bobby G is definitely back in a big way. Ultramarines are definitely back in a big way. We've seen like different Marine lists, but this is like a different spin on it, right? Like we've seen other Marine armies, but this is different. Gullman's there. It's fun to see a Land Raider on the table of all tanks. And of course, a couple of Redemptor Dreadnoughts, which I think are really, really good, as well as the Eradicators, which go around. He went third, and he lost his second round against Eric Forsnen. And Eric Forsnen was playing Harlequins. Now, I could see Harlequins grabbing this list, bending it over, and treating it very badly, okay? So let's just say that, yes, Harlequins still destroy Space Marines. But it's cool to see Ultramarines up at the top there. In second place at the Renegade Mini GT, after the Ultramarines, we have Kevin with his Nurgle. And it's ironic that his team name is keyword Imperial, because it's a Nurgle list. But we have a battalion detachment. And in this battalion detachment, it is Poxmongers. We have a Chaos Lord, right? We have a Demon Prince of Nurgle. We have 5 Plague Marines. A Foul Blightspawn, who's amazing. 3 units of 3 Mephitic Blight Haulers with multi-Meltars and the little rockets and stuff that they can shoot. And then a patrol detachment of Nurgle Demons with Epidemus. The Tallyman, yeah. A Great Unclean One with a bell. Yeah, he has a Doomsday Bell, so you can bring back models for free. You talk about bringing back models for free. You think an Apothecary is bad? Just wait till that guy with the bell goes gling gling, and then like every unit of Mephitic Blight Haulers gets a model back. That's annoying as all hell. And 5 Nurglings. 2,000 points on the nose. Epidemus, the Tallyman, is fantastic. Makes everything just really killy. The only thing I would have changed here is I would definitely gone for one of the like characters in the Death Guard that gives you reroll all misses in combat, because that actually makes then the Mephitic Blighthaulers quite nasty in close combat when combined with the Tallyman. And that's a really cool list. Mephitic Blighthaulers, Great Unclean One, little units of Plague Marines everywhere, some Nurglings for some board control at the beginning of the game. And all in all, it's a very sturdy list, right? It's a very sturdy list. No drill, Andres, because of course the new Forge World book has sort of taken the drills away from Death Guard and away from Thousand Suns, and it's very specific on like Chaos Space Marines. So the Tallyman is the reroll in combat. Oh, okay. So he did take the Tallyman. No, he took Epidemus. No, I'm talking about the Tallyman is, but Epidemus is the Tallyman of Nurgle. There's a confusion. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you. Sorry. And then in first place, we had Asa Carson with Slaanesh Demons. So give it up for the Slaanesh Demons. Let's see what they brought. I've played Cody, as I've said many times, with the Slaanesh Demons. We're currently developing a list that has 5 Keepers of Secret in it. 5. Shh, don't tell anyone. That's a lot of Keepers of Secret. The new FAQ gave Thousand Suns Death Guard the Chaos Space Marine Forge World options. Oh, could probably. I didn't see it, but if that's true, then that's awesome. So we have a battalion detachment of Slaanesh with Keeper Secrets, Keeper Secrets, Keeper Secrets. Cool. 10 Demonettes, 10 Demonettes, 10 Demonettes. And then a Vanguard detachment of Slaanesh with the Contorted Epitome. Shalaxi Hellbane, which is Hysterical Frenzy Living Whip. I'm assuming that's the Shalaxi. Is that the named keeper? I think it might be. Yeah. And then 5 fiends, 5 fiends, and 5 fiends. The fiends, by the way, combined with the demonettes, combined with the keepers, combined with the mirror to stop you from falling back and stuff. Super powerful. This list is surprising how killy it is, and it kills Space Marines and Custodes and Death Guard so fast. And because the amount of like Drukhari players and stuff has kind of declined, there's not really that sort of like balance of like 8 Venoms with Dark Technomancer. They're just going to like look at this list and just blow it into oblivion. So that's definitely like a change of pace as well. But we've got Slash Demons in first place, Nurgle and Ultramarines. At the Renegade Mini GT, we've got one more GT to talk about. So make sure, and then we'll go through like some of the Patreon questions as well. So if you have any questions, it's open to everyone today, celebrating 2 years of creating content on YouTube and on Patreon and on Instagram and on Facebook, and doing a live stream on Twitch every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a hobby, hangout, and chat Twitch stream. So check that down below. The links are all in the description, all that good stuff. So thank you for tuning in. We've had like 90 of you to 110 of you hanging out throughout the course of this video. So that is like crazy. I'm humbled. Thank you so much. And let's get to some of the questions as well before we go into the last and final GT, which I have mainly like 1 list or 2 lists to talk about. Nothing super crazy as well. So we've got... Carl says, I've picked up the Gangs of Comra box game, which I got as well. It's actually a fun little box game. Wanted to use them with my Coven battalion. I'm thinking of an Outrider detachment, or should I add some witches for patrol? I would recommend a patrol. I think Drukhari work best when you do the triple patrol. So adding them into a witch cult patrol is usually the best. It's less command points. You get access to a succubus and a witch unit, which is an obsec unit, and a succubus that's pretty decent. Unit as well, and then the filler, and then the bikes, which are really decent, and the Hellions, which are like meh. So there should be never be more than 1 keeper's secrets. After all, a secret shared is not a secret. John Chavez, yes, but each one could have a different secret, and then they're just all keepers of one specific secret, right? The changes to doctrines for Templars, yes, really excited about that. I'm super happy that Black Templars got their doctrine changed, which is good. They finally got their full attacks and combat doctrine, which is great. Joe Monty says, "Congrats on your anniversary, always smart and adroit." Cool, thank you. Thomas Erickson says, "Do you think Eldar will get a bunch of objectives secured with the update? And how important is objective secured this edition?" Objective secured is very important. Because it's all about scoring objectives. Like the primary objective mission to hold an objective or take it away from your opponent is how you win the game. Because objective secured has a direct relationship to winning the game, it becomes very important. Do I think that Eldar will get a bunch of objectives secured extra? Who knows? I could see them being something like Eonden. All Wraith constructs get objective secured, that sort of thing. But we'll see with the Codex. This is all speculation. I have no idea what they'll do, but hopefully they need to kind of mix and match the objective secure choices for all of the Eldari races to bring them in line with the rest of the game. Suave Lion says, "Are all Necrons taking OBSEC and pre-game 6-inch move dynasty?" That's like the big fad thing to take. It's not the thing I've seen everyone take, but it's a thing that has become the most popular the quickest, because it's like it's the thing that jumps out from the page as the most powerful to win the game right now. Alex Abel says, hey, can you explain exactly why DT are good? I tried it and doesn't do much. 1.5 dead marines per venom, which dies when coughed at. Doesn't seem cost efficient. Am I doing something wrong? So you're thinking Dark Technomancer. So the trait Dark Technomancer with Drukhari is very good because it's massed, and it combines with Masters of Mutagen. So I take 6 Venoms. So 6 Venoms that hit on 3s, 6s to hit automatically wound the target unless it's a vehicle or Titanic. So all 6s, you don't even have to roll the wound. And then instead of wounding on 4s, you wound on 3s. The key is that you have to focus all 6 Venoms on a single target and just force lots of armor saves. Because the change from wounding on 4s to wounding on 3s is such a big difference, you're forcing a lot more armor saves. The more armor saves you even if it's a 2+ save, the more that you make them roll, the more likely they are to fail that roll. So it's all about volume of dice. That's what it does. And it changes the math, where the math goes really in favor of you just shooting stuff. But the key is don't just shoot 1 venom and kill 1 Marine. No, you want to shoot 6 venoms to kill 5 Marines and then move on, right? And and use the Dark Technomancer Reapers, which are those guys up there. The Reapers or the Tantaluses to do the really heavy lifting with the +1 to wound and the extra damage on like the Reaper cannon, basically. 2 years of prime Canadian Warhammer content, says Grabby Falcon. Totally worth celebrating. Woo! Maple syrup for everyone! Hey! Lil V says, congrats from Nova Scotia. Thank you. Thank you. Give us some Exodite love this edition. Just some lore or anything, says Thomas. Exodites, you mean like dudes riding dragons and stuff? Sure, I'll try and get something in there. We have to do a little project or whatever. Okay, so let's dive into the final GT. This was a Canadian GT, talking about Canada, which is called the Amiable Bright, the Plague GT, or something along those lines. Where is it? Amiable Bright, the Plague Wars. Plague Wars 2020. Where are you? Okay, so we had the top 3 for this were Alexander Philip McDougall with his Forces of the Hive Mind at a 31-player GT. In second place, we had Marshall Reeves with his Custodes. And in third place, we had Garo Sacco with his Dark Angels. So we had Custodes finally at the top of the GT. We had Forces of the Hive Mind. That's Genes of the Occult mixed with Tyranids. Yes, that's right. You can still win. You can still play with them. They are still relevant. Okay. And Dark Angels, because apparently they're still really, really good. So let's dive in. Alex McDougall. Actually, no, let's start with the lowest ones. So we had Garrett. So the Dark Angels list. I hope you're paying attention, writing notes. As a Custodes, Nid, and Dark Angels player, this pleases me greatly. Nuno, I'll get to your question after we've done the last of the 4 GTs, or the 4 tournaments, the big tournaments, the ones that have mattered in the week this week. It is a patrol detachment with a Deathwing Ancient. Cool. A Deathwing Command Squad with a Thunderhammer, and Lightning Claws. Cool, it's a 2-man squad, apparently. Then we have a Belial. Nice. A Tactical Squad. Who knew that I'd be uttering the word Tactical Squad in a podiuming list for the second time? Deathwing Terminator Squads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 Deathwing Terminators with 2 Cyclone rocket launchers, some Chain Fist Storm Bolters, and then some Thunderhammer Storm Shields. Okay, so just like a variety of different things. A Ravenwing Apothecary with the Chief Apothecary, of course. A Bike Squad, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 8 and an attack bike. An Eradicator Squad of 3. A 10-strong Hellblaster Squad. And 1 Landspeeder Storm. I don't understand why we've seen so many Landspeeder Storms lately. What is it with the Landspeeder? It's 55 points. It's just to like get a quick point or something, or just be annoying. I can see people using it for that. It's just annoying. But cool. It's just a big block of Deathwing Terminators, some Bikers for some support, as well as an Eradicator Squad and a big Hellblaster Squad just to like destroy other Space Marines that get close. So instead of the Plasma Scepters, they're running the Eradicators. Which is interesting. Joe Monte says, your French Canadien is showing. Adroit, habile, or back to English, skilled on the Eldar front. Despite their low attack ability, I like using Swooping Hawks for objectives, especially late game. Si quieres también te hablo en español, güey. Todo lo que tú quieras, cabrón. Today is the multilingual Meta Monday analysis. Jason, how's it going, Jason? Nice to see you. Okay, so that was Gary's Dark Angels list as well. So then we go on to Marshall Reeves. When did the Emperor's Champion become so good? The Emperor's Champion is amazing, James, of course. He goes around smiting the enemies of the Emperor. Marshal Reeves Adeptus Custodes coming in podium position at the Plague Wars GT. But we have a battalion detachment of Shadow Keepers with Trajan Valoris and a captain on a Dawn Eagle jet bike with a salvo launcher. So that's like a rocket launcher, basically. 3 units of Custodian Guard. So a 5 strong, and then a 4 strong, and then a 4 strong. 5 of them with Storm Shields and Blades. 4 of them with Storm Shield Blades, and then 4 of them with a Spear. So cheap. Then 4 Alarius Custodians with the Grenade Launcher and the Axes. 4 Prosecutors. These are the Sisters of Silence. A Vexilla, with the Vexilla Magnifica. And then 5 bikes with salvo launchers. So 5 bikes with salvo launchers, 4 Terminators, 5 Sisters of Silence with the bolt guns, a Vexilla Magnifica, 5, 10, 12, 13 Custodian Guards, so a lot more troops than you're used to with Custodes, which is good. I actually like a core of troops. And of course, your Shield Captain on Donio jet bike that's impossible to kill, and Trajan Valoris, which is a very it's a very elite Custodian list, but you wouldn't expect anything different. I like the addition of the Sisters of Silence. They're really good as a cheap unit in a Custodes army because they can take, they don't lose their traits or anything to do secondary objectives and things like that. And I think that's very useful because that's it's a 60-point unit in an army where the cheapest unit is almost 200 points. So it's nice to have a cheap unit that can do that sort of thing as well, right? Okay, and last but not least, Alex McDougall, a hopeful of ETC Team Canada as well. So really love seeing him up there. Huge shout out to him over there in British Columbia, which is literally a continent away, with the final list that we will be going over today. Forces of the Hive Mind. And after this, we'll be doing open questions and all the Patreon questions that I normally cover through the Meta Monday thread. So thank you so much. Celebrating 2 years of content creation. If you haven't clicked the like button, click the like button, share the video, click those notifications, subscribe to the channel, help the channel get noticed. Here is to another 10 years of content creation. Thanks to you. Thanks to everybody who supports on Patreon. Really appreciate it. That's literally my job. And everything is thanks to you. So I appreciate it. So Battalion Detachment of Genestealer Cult. Bladed Cog Detachment. We have a Jackal Alphas, a Magus, so the Psycho guy, 18, oh no, it's a 20 strong Acolyte Hybrid unit with a Heavy Roxor and then 19 Hand Flamers. So 20 strong Acolyte Hybrid unit, giant unit of Acolyte Hybrids. Then a 10 strong Acolyte Hybrid unit with Flamers. Then 10 Brood Brothers, just standard infantry to get in the middle and be annoying. 2 Achilles Ridge Runners, so 2 units of 2 with their heavy mining lasers and their stubbers and whatnot. And then a patrol detachment of Tyranids. And this is Kronos for Symbio Storm, which gives you extra hits when you shoot, as well as the ability to shut down psychic powers and things like that as well. But you have a Broodlord with Onslaught, a Neurothrope with Symbio Storm and the Resonance Barb for the +1 to cast, 2 units of 3 Ripper Swarms, so some deep striking OBSEC units on top of everything else. Hive Guard, 6 of them with Impaler Cannons, 5 Zoanthropes for some good mortal wound output, as well as a good distraction unit and something quite durable, and an Exocrane, because Exocranes are really, really good. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 2,000 points on the nose. So to repeat, we have an Exocrane, 5 Zoanthropes, 6 Hive Guard, 2 units of 3 Ripper Swarms, 1 Neurothrope, 1 Broodlord, 2 units of 2 Ridge Runners, the little buggies with the last cannons, 2 units of 10 Brood Brothers, 10 Acolyte Hybrids with Flamers, 20 Acolyte Hybrids with Flamers and 1 Little Ruxel, a Magus and a Jackal Alphas for the +1 to hit aura. And that's 2,000 points. And he took a 30-person GT, 5 rounds with that list. So just think about it. Lots of OBSEC, good amount of shooting and support. You know, it's excellent. And I really, really like to see that as well. Okay, so if you have a question, put it in the chat down below. Let's go over some of the quick comments and everything like that as well. Really excited to see what everybody's been working at and working on as well. Dun, dun, dun. Let's view the questions. There's a few questions. Now, I am doing, this is to all the Patreons as well. But the Meta Monday, because it was starting to get really, really long, I'm splitting the Meta Monday video into 2 videos. The first video will be the Meta Monday analysis video, or MMA, which is like this one, going over top lists, talking questions, meta analysis, that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to do a second video later in the week for Patreons, which will be the army list breakdown, where you can send me a list, post your list, and I will go through all of the lists that get posted, and I'll break down the lists, give you advice, give you suggestions, but I'm essentially splitting what I used to do in one, because now we're starting to get a lot of information on Meta Mondays, splitting it into 2 units as well, or 2 videos as well. So James Stout has a list for me to go over. So I'll definitely be doing that. I'll definitely be doing that on the probably Thursday, which is when that video will go up for everybody. And if you would like to ask me a question live, leave a comment. You know, I do go through all the comments and stuff like that as well. And I really appreciate all the questions and all that good stuff too. So where is this? Also, I just want to let everybody know as well that the Vault videos that I'm doing with Mini Wargamer Dave, so every other video gets put into the Mini Wargaming Vault for the super campaign. Thank you very much to Mini Wargaming. I'll be getting those videos and I'll be able to post them to the Patreon page. So you will not miss a single video if you're a Patreon as well. So I really appreciate it's the little things like that you know is amazing. So thank you so much. So Gaz does have a question, and he asks, and then Jonathan Stewart has a list, which I'll go over on Thursday. So how should Drukhari deal with enemy super heavies or bio-titans? Drukhari are lacking in firepower. To be honest, it's one of the biggest reasons I've added Reapers into my list. I feel like the Reapers themselves are excellent at taking down large targets, especially with Dark Technomancers. Dark Eldar Reapers, a minimum 4 damage. Dark Technomancers, minimum 5 damage. They're strength 8 with +1 to wound. So they're wounding most things on 3s or 2s, depending on how tough this thing is. And I just have to try and keep them alive for as long as physically possible. That's usually what I do, Gaz, to deal with like large stuff. So firing and fading and stuff like that as well. No question, says Jason. No problem at all. Question, says Andres. He says, Deathwatch seem like the strongest army right now. Do they have anything to counter Harleys, though? You mean Deathwing or Deathwatch? Deathwatch have an incredible amount of strategies against Eldari in general. I think the kill team, the ability to take like large units of Outrider bikes, is probably going to be one of the most important aspects, especially since Outriders are excellent, and in units of 3 they're really strong. But units of 5, like those like rapid fire bolter things they have on there are crazy, and they'll be OBSEC. Danielle Jones says, "Hi Skari, sorry to ask. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. That's what Meta Monday is here for. So thank you so much for asking a question. I haven't played in a while. Where do I find the Dark Technomancer for the Dark Eldar go with the Venoms? Nice to see you looking smart." Well, thank you. I thought I'd put a nice jacket on. Oh, it's also, I was a little cold and I didn't want to put a hoodie on. So I thought, why not? Plus you can see the cool merch. So you want to get yourself the Psychic Awakening, Faith and... No, not Faith and Fury. Where is it? Rise of the Phoenix. However, I don't know how long that's going to be valid for. So... yes, get it. Just remember that they're probably going to invalidate it as soon as the codex comes out, because then all the rules will be in the codex specifically. But it'll be in the Phoenix Rising Psychic Awakening book is where you find all the obsessions that we're talking about, like Dark Technomancers, Masters of Mutagen, all that good stuff as well. Kuth Chulte asks, where do you find these tournament lists and results? I'm relatively new to Warhammer in general. My Magic the Gathering mates have converted me to the plastic crack. Well, welcome. Welcome to never having money for the rest of your life. Then again, you play Magic, so I feel sorry for you, mate. I use two sources for today. I use the Down Under Pairings website, which is the website that tracks a lot of the tournaments that happen down in Australia and New Zealand areas. There's also the Best Coast Pairings app, which I subscribe to as well, which allows me to look at lists and stuff on all the lists that were generally the ITC circuit as well. So Down Under Pairings is also ITC circuit. However, it's just two different websites, and that's where I got all the lists, and it's all listed and the events, and tournament organizers use that to conglomerate all the stuff as well. Okay. So let's go over a couple of the Patreon questions on the exclusive Patreon Discord. So North of the Wall put up a list, but I'll check that out during the list breakdown. Diego Sanchez put up a list as well. I'll do that. So did Cynical. I'll put that during the stuff. Okay, so question C. Jason says, how do I deal with a Necron like a Satan to try and only, because it can only take 3 wounds a phase with Dark Eldar. So the way I do it, I use Reaver jet bikes because they can do wounds or damage in the movement phase, the shooting phase, the charge phase, and the combat phase. So Reaver jet bikes are a great tool for a Drukhari player to do damage to a Satan and kill him in a single turn. In the move phase, you can use the slashing impact or slash by, like the flyby. So you move over it and do 1 roll per jet bike. On a 6 will take a mortal wound. So normally you have a unit of 9 jet bikes on average, or 12 jet bikes, depending on how big you want to go. And for every 6, they take a mortal wound up to a max of 3. Right, so can you roll a few 6s? Hopefully. Then in the shooting phase, you can shoot it with your whole army, do 3 wounds, even the jet bikes got guns or whatever, potentially there. Then in the charge phase, you have Grav Talons. After you complete a charge move on a 4+, you do mortal wounds when you charge, so that's up to 3 wounds that you can do there, potentially 1 or 2 on average. And in close combat as well, they have quite a few attacks that are decent strength, which can potentially do damage as well. So a unit of Reaver jet bikes can kill a Satan in a single turn. And it's one of the few units that can for relatively cheap, for like 200 and some points instead. So I hope that answers your question, C. Jason, as well. Okay. Lots of questions. There we go. Okay, cool. Make sure to check out. Okay, so I'll definitely Meta Monday next week. Okay, so Cynical's let me know of an event that happened next week as well. So thank you, Cynical. I'll make sure I check that out as well. Okay, couple of final questions before we finish up for the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And here come the last of the questions. Just to recap, we talked about team event in Australia. We talked about 3 major GTs that happened in Canada and the United States. And we've seen the variety of lists, and we've seen the top players and like what key elements people are putting in their lists as well. Joker says, do you feel that Space Marines are going to be a detriment to competitive play? This edition, Necrons seem still to be in a tough spot in contrast to Marines. As far as I've seen, with the proof is in the pudding, it seems like Space Marines is still strong, but there are definitely armies that can come out and play. So I do not think they're a detriment. They're hard to play against. However, the more popular they are, the more people tech for them, the harder it will be to play Space Marines in a meta that's designed to kill Space Marines. Charles says, whoa, gene stealers. Yeah, they took my jeans. That's why I have khakis. Justin Kiefer, hey, buddy, nice to see you. Says, what's up, Skari? How many Hornets will you be buying? LOL. Well, it depends. Are there any in stock, considering they are amazing again, or still? I don't think I'll be able to get any, and I'm definitely not buying ChinaCast. Okay. Hope we cover some Blood Angels today, says Michael Mateson. There weren't any Blood Angels to cover lately in the events. There weren't any Blood Angels to be seen. It was very interesting. I didn't see any. I've got a couple of cool Blood Angel lists. If you message me privately on Facebook, I can kind of shoot them your way if it's something you're curious about. Daniel says, congratulations on 2 years to my favorite Archon other than me. Of course, you have to be your own favorite Archon, but thank you so much. 2 years of creating content full-time as my job. I could not be happier. So thank you very much for just hanging out and saying hi. Only bad questions are the ones not asked. Correct. I agree, James. Sim says, Wolflords can get Strength 9 Thunderhammers with +1 to wound versus monsters and vehicles, so they wound T8 on 2s. Yes, Space Wolf characters are still incredibly killy. Like, crazy killy. Do not underestimate Space Wolf characters. The battle report that I'm posting tomorrow will show you Space Wolf characters. The Suave Lion says, do you see any of the unreleased mini marine units shaking up the meta, gladiators, multi-melta eradicators, heavy intercessors, more than it has been shaked up on a regular basis due to the rapid release of models that GW has been making on a consistent basis? No. Do you think deep striking your whole army is a bad move? Working on filling 3-drop pods of Lamenters to complement my Terminators and Jump Pack Bros. It's not bad. I think that if you're going to do it, make sure you have a bunch of infiltrators or some sort of forward pressure units. So don't deep strike your whole army. Put something on the board, but make sure that it's like creates room for you to use for deep striking, especially if you go second, because you don't want your opponent to sort of block out where you can come in easily. Charles says, I did the math with your list against a knight with rotate iron shields, and they should just be able to take him out in 1 turn. Yes. Oh, 100%. Plus, I have Vect. Or you're talking about my Sisters of Battle guard list. But Vect is great. Be like, rotate iron shields? No, and now you're dead. The answer to Necron Warriors Blast did the math. 225 points of aggressors with full rerolls killed 260 points of warriors. So is that... Remember, aggressors don't double shoot anymore. Just 1 shot, though. Seems like multiple tier lists and taking heads put Astra Militarum in the middle B tier, but 40k stats has us at 42% win rate with a 0% T-whip. Why the disparity? I think it comes down to really play style, because a lot of people who play Astra Militarum are playing like 8th edition style lists. The new lists, you have to kind of shake it up a little bit. List building has changed, and a lot of guard players play guard because they're like, this is my regiment, and this is Bob, and Bob's is a sergeant, and this is Fred, and this is Frank, and this is Roger, and they're like very fluffy style players because it's the Imperial Guard. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why you're seeing it. And a lot of highly competitive players have sort of shifted their focus onto very competitive armies like Space Marines and Necrons and stuff like that, right? So a lot of the fluffier players are playing still Astra Militarum. So you still haven't had those like heavy Astra Militarum players find something that they like and kind of run with it, or being able to go to events. Remember, the meta right now is like, we have very few events. You can't really gauge what's happening with the events that we're having at like very realistically. Vid asks, hey, I started Drukhari, and at the moment I have 1 Talus, and I really love the model. How many should I get to start? Thanks. Well, I like units of 3 Talus. If I run Talus, I run 2 units of 3 Talus, and then I run 2 units of 5 Grotesques, and then I run 3 units of 10 Rex. So that's like my Coven list, and then Urian Rakarth and a Homunculus. So if you want to do Coven, it's a lot of points, but that's pretty sturdy and a great way to start as well. Grave Falcon says, wait, are Razor Flails just strictly better Hydro Gauntlets? I prefer Hydro Gauntlets. Reroll to wound, much better than extra attacks. Blast sure can hurt against warriors. Yes. Also, if anyone's particularly suited to killing them, it's aggressors. Also, yes. Should I buy some Reapers or wait for the new Drukhari Codex first? I love the model. I'd get the Reaper just to have the model because it's a cool model. But that's up to you. My friend is selling 3 Hornets. Well, thanks for letting me know. Help us, heroes. My favorite Archon is Vect, and he definitely isn't threatening me to say that. I agree. I agree. He's staring at me. That's Vect right there. He's staring at me. Right behind me. Gwendolyn says, thank you for all your content. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Suave. The Suave. I was playing at my store. One was playing Max Primary pretty easily. Yes. 6 plus D6 shots per aggressor. That's 60 shots for 5 models using Blast. Okay, if they're Blast, then that's perfect. Just Kit Basher Reaper Forge World kits suck. I have 2 of them. Jason, biased. If the aggressors are getting full rerolls, remember that you're paying for a Chapter Master alongside them. Correct, Happy. But a Chapter Master is good in general. Or you're taking Gulliman, right? Because then Gulliman just has the old school Chapter Master reroll. And that is that, folks. I just wanted to say, oh, Alex, one last question. Alex says, what's your take on Mandrakes? I love Mandrakes. The built-in Deep Strike is awesome. I haven't been using them as much recently because I've shifted my focus to Incubi currently, and I really like that as well. Incubi have been doing great with Drazar. If you're going to take Mandrakes, take 15 of them and run them as one big squad of 15 as 3 units of 5. I love the fact that they have a built-in Deep Strike for free. They are a bit expensive for what you get for them at the moment. However, they're quite versatile, being able to do close combat and shooting. However, with the Marine meta, Incubi have tended to be more useful for me personally as well. So, okay. So thank you so much for tuning in. It has been 2 years of creating content. This has been a cool celebration for Meta Monday Analysis, a video that I normally reserve for Patreons every Monday. If you would like to join the Denizen community at whatever tier, just to show your support, check the links down below. If Patreon's not your thing, I have Twitch, which I do a live Twitch show every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I literally sit down and paint. I'm currently painting some Rattling Snipers just for fun. I just painted some Scions. I play a lot of stuff, not just Dark Eldar. I play Black Templars, Imperial Guard, Talarn, Sisters of Battle. I have some Eldar. I got some Harlequins. And, of course, the Dark Eldar is my main list as well. I couldn't do anything that I do without me. And 2 years ago, when I made the choice to jump into content creation full time, and I was like a rock bottom, like literally rock bottom at like my current, like the career that I had at that time. It was a nerve-wracking experience for me, jumping into the unknown with 2 feet, and all of you rallied together around me as a content creator. And I could not be more grateful. And I hope that I can continue to do what I've been doing and giving you content. And I can't say this enough, but thank you very much. Other than that, I will see all of you on the next video. Tomorrow, the next battle report goes live to the general public. Talarn and Sisters of Battle versus the new Space Wolves. So that's really exciting. Other than that, I've been Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time. The Dark Kin. Bye, everybody. That's the end of the stream. That's the end. Oh, it's still on. Oh, no. I pressed the wrong button. No.